Oh, hey everyone. I am a couple minutes behind. I am sorry. So, man, woo! I have got a great show for you today. I have got a fantastic show for you today. And it's always better to do the show when you call your shot and you make it. You saw I put action down on Thursday Night Football. I told you to action, and not everybody was on board. Not everybody was on board, but I went ahead and got people called it, and remember, set good luck to everyone this weekend. I'll be back once you're. Hey, Pete. By the way, oh, okay. Once you're live, okay. Hey, Pete. I forgot to ask. The league that you're in, is it a PPR or standard? I'll get this out of the way right now. Alex, what is up, brother? If it's a PPR league, I got a couple. I think you're looking for running backs. If I'm correct, it's kind of like you have to buy players. You want to get players cheap. If it's a PPR league, I'll give you two running backs. I think they're on good games. James Robinson, the Jacksonville rookie, who I have a huge man crush on. The Bengals front seven, they're going with two rookie linebackers. And I know rookie versus a rookie, but the West Coast offense that they're running, I think they're going to do a lot of dump offs. I think he's going to have a big game. So if it's PPR, James Robinson's a good one. Another one, and this hurts me to say, but Sony Michel against my Chiefs. One of the weaknesses of the Chiefs is their linebackers. The defensive line's actually pretty solid. I think Sony Michel's probably going to have about 6 to 8 receptions. I think he's actually going to have a big game. A lot of people said CEH, Carlos Edwards-Helaire. I actually think Sony Michel's going to outperform CEH in this game. And I'm a Chiefs fan. But listen, when you have Bill Belichick, remember, New England played Sunday at home at noon. The Chiefs played Monday night on the road. So this is going to be a tough game for my Chiefs. But if you're looking for a fantasy football sleeper, man, Sony Michel. Now, if you're in a standard league, you probably want to go with Ezekiel Elliott, and that's probably your gold standard if all things are being equal. If you had to say, give me the running back who's going to have the best rushing performance, I would probably go with Ezekiel Elliott. So, Alex Funk, man, I am great. This is going to be a great show. Okay, I'm going to go over every single game. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over every single game. I have $100 on one game, but the line's changed. And I got the line when it was good. But I'm going to give you a good game to bet on. It's still a good game to bet on. It's a little risky, but it is a little risky. But I'm going to give you the game that I put my money down on because unlike a lot of channels, I put my money where my mouth is. A lot of channels will just give you predictions and say, do this, or there's a lot of channels out there. They'll say, go to my site, and then they'll try to charge you $99 for a bet, or this week's picks, there's a lot of sites out there like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to get this to grow. I'm trying to get this to build. I think the community's more fun when you have people from different fan bases, but everybody who I'm talking with, and I've been talking to the last couple of weeks, if I blow up and I'm able to open up like a Patreon or, something happens where I'm starting to charge, some of you guys have my number. A lot of you guys have my email. All you guys will always get your picks for free. The guys that are coming up with me, if I blow up, you guys always get your stuff for free. So I gave you the freebie for Thursday night. I told you guys who would win. I put my money down. You guys, hopefully you guys collected. I know Jimmy Stoneful collected. I have not heard from him. I don't think he was here last Friday. So, but Alex, yes, the Broncos game was way too close. Man, that was a, you know what? I'll be honest. Somebody said if you had had a game just like that, but you switched the uniforms with the Chiefs and the Ravens, you would have said it's a great game. I don't think so because Rippon's 3 picks. That the one he threw away was really bad. Scott, my buddy, I told him to take Jerry Jeudy in fantasy, which he did. Jeudy, I think the only catch was that touchdown. So man, hey Funk, I know you don't put action down on sports, but if you ever do, if you live in Michigan, you can gamble on sports in Michigan, or if you ever need fantasy football help, I'm always going to help out. But bottom line, my goal is to get this to blow up, but I think that my niche is simply that I don't just talk the talk, I actually walk the walk. And I do have one game for you that I put 100 down on. So I'm going to show you that. If you've ever done any streaming, StreamYard, I'm using the free version, so I couldn't take a screenshot of my actual bet. So you unfortunately, you just have to take my word for it. But as you saw on my last show, I went ahead and just showed you my account with my bookie, which, by the way, I put a link if you're interested in using my bookie, but I don't recommend it. It doesn't get the recommendation. I'll tell you why. I don't have anything official, but I'm just going to give you the numbers. I deposited $300 on my checking account. There's a 5% charge, right? Well, let's do some math. 5% of 300 is $15. Okay, well, then that's fine. Well, I got charged $315.86. Okay, well, 86 cents isn't that bad. Okay, and I thought my bank did this, but I called my bank. I got charged an extra $9.47. So that $300 deposit through my bookie cost me $325.33. Just, off the top of my head, it's about 8.5%. So if you are thinking about using my bookie, I get a bonus. So that's why I put the link below, is that I get an extra $25. I'm being a selfish prick here. I don't recommend using my bookie. I don't recommend it, but if you do want to use it, that's the site I've been using. I strongly recommend you go to a casino, but if you are interested in use it, if you want to give me some free money, great. If you don't, if you find a better site, please let me know. I would have used Bovada, but I had some problems with their site. All the numbers I'm giving you are from my bookie. So Broncos are definitely going to be last in the division. I have no doubt. Chargers, Raiders, and Chiefs are much, much better. Oh, yeah. Fangio and Gase are both going to be fired. I forgot that they were both together in Chicago and they know each other. I actually was surprised Gase didn't get fired. And Greg Williams, even though the defense was sloppy and there's some late hits, Greg Williams, I think, does deserve to be an NFL head coach. I think if Greg Williams takes over, and it's really just a matter of time before he takes over, he will turn the Jets around and make them semi-respectable, but that's just a bad team, and that's a bad organization. Denver, Fangio is just not a good fit for the Broncos, and I think that there's a real disconnect between Elway and Fangio. You don't draft a bunch of offensive players. You don't draft an offense that mirrors Kansas City and hire an old school defensive coach. That's just not smart. And it would be kind of interesting to see what Denver does, but I actually think that I would bet money Fangio is going to be gone. But I think that this could be the last year John Elway is in Denver. And it wouldn't surprise me if Elway goes to another team and may have some success, but I think his time will end, could end. Elway, I think, is about coin flip. Fangio, I would say about 90%, because that team looks bad. They have a lot of injuries, but why draft an old school defensive coordinator and then put the Chiefs, or because they're mimicking the Chiefs offense. It's not a coincidence Noah Fant, the tight end, he was injured in the game, by the way, is wearing 87. It's not a coincidence Jerry Jeudy got number 10. It's basically like a knockoff cheap version of the Chiefs offense is what Denver's trying to do. I'm not making this up. This is a fact. But instead of getting a brilliant offensive mind, you get an old school defensive coach. That's not smart. I got some respect for Denver fans, but I don't think any of them are joining the show. So hey, that's just the way it goes. By the way, if you haven't already, I have no idea what it looks like on YouTube, so please give me the thumbs up. And if you are not a subscriber, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like I said, for the guys that have been here, the guys that are on the show, you will always get picks for free. Eventually, I'd like this to grow. I don't know if I'm going to open like a Patreon or do something, but I mean, I'm ambitious and I'd love for this to blow up and explode and get bigger. And it's also more fun to hear from different fan bases. So drinking my coffee, man. Oh man. I will admit I am running on a little bit of fumes today. I had that stupid 5 o'clock meeting. So I'm running on fumes. So I got coffee. I am excited. Music City guy, you're going to be in and out. Hey man, thanks for joining. Hey, since you're going to be in and out, just make sure you give me the thumbs up. Let me know I'm doing a good job. Hey man, give me a thumbs down if you hate it. Bad situation with the Titans and the Steelers. I kind of just want to talk about the matchups this week. A bad situation, but it's kind of a rough time that we're in right now. So I'm kind of going to just leave that alone. Not trying to disrespect the Titans in any way. So listen, Music City guy, man, jump in and out as much as you can. I appreciate you jumping in at all. I fully love all you guys coming in. Like I said, this is my favorite thing to do. I've said this many times, and it's a little crazy. I know. I would rather talk to you guys. I'd rather hang out with a bunch of guys and talk football rather than go out on a date with a hot chick any day of the week. All right. And by the way, that's the second game we're going to talk about, Alex. Alex says, looking at the Saints game with the Lions, even though the Lions aren't the best team, the Saints just look tired. Going to be a close game, which it shouldn't. You know, you actually have a good point, and I think it's going to be an interesting game. I'm going to go in order. That's the second game on the docket here. We'll bring up the first game, and I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on it because this one's kind of a tough one for me. I'm already off a little bit. My apologies here. I am getting on the ball here. All right. Here, I'm going to share my screen here just for a second. I'm glad you are a Music City guy, and that's what kind of makes you a good fan because that's kind of the reason why I want to hear from different fan bases, but it's really important. I want to hear from fan bases that are unbiased. I don't even want to hear from Chiefs fans who think that we're going to blow out the Patriots. I will shut them down immediately. Like I don't know if you remember or not, but if the line got too big, and I'll talk about the Chiefs and the Patriots. If you missed the part where I was talking earlier, I think Sony Michel is actually due to have a big game. I think Sony Michel will have a better game than CEH. Of course, as a fan, I'm hoping otherwise. But I'm going to go ahead and take the talent off, and you don't have to look at me. The show will probably get better here. If you guys really want to look at me, I could go both ways here. I am not that good looking. So Indianapolis at Chicago. The over-under is 43. I think this line is really confusing because how are the Bears a 2.5-point dog? I know that you got Foles. I would love to hear from you guys. I am not going to touch this game because I don't know what I'm going to see from Chicago. I don't think the Colts are that good of a team. I know on paper they have a good defense, but they played some bad teams. I want to go with the over on this game. That to me would be the best bet. I am avoiding this game like the plague. Again, all these lines are from my bookie. I do have the link below. Again, I put 300 in from my checking account. I got charged over 325, so I don't recommend them at all, but that's where I'm getting the numbers from. But bottom line, here's the line on the game. It's over under is 43. Chicago is a 2.5-point dog at home. I I'm avoiding this game like the plague, but I really like the over on this one. So both starting CBs are out for the Saints, plus a DT and a DN, not including what's missing from the offense. Lions are in a good spot to walk out with a dub. You know what? Hey, we're bringing that game up next, man. And then Colts are going to win because the Bears need to adjust with Foles. Colts have better chemistry. That's going to be that could be true. But how are the Colts going to do playing against a tough opponent on the road? That's something interesting too. Another thing is that are they going to be able to run against this defense? To me, this is a really great game. This is going to be a fun game. I'm avoiding this like the plague, but I think my play would be the over. Next game I got Saints at Lions. The over-under is 54. It is a high line. And Funk, I'm going to put this up here again. Saints starting corners are out with injuries, plus a DT and a D end. That's not including what's missing from the offense. Lions are in a good spot to walk out with the dub. And listen, Funk, part of me wants to pull for you, but I have action on the Saints winning over 10.5 games, which means I need to hit 11, and they're 1-2 right now. I'm not sure that the Lions can. The Lions played a good game against a team I think that's going to go about 500 in the Cardinals. The Saints are still a team I think that's going to the playoffs. The Lions are not. I like the over in this game because the Saints have been getting a lot of penalties. I think this is going to be a sloppy game, to tell you the truth. And I'm not insulting either team. I know the Saints have been getting a lot of penalties. I don't think the Lions are going to play a perfect game either, being that they have a lot of moving parts and they're kind of changing some things around. I think it's going to be a sloppy, high-scoring game. Ultimately, who do I trust in a high-scoring game? I'm going to go with the Saints. I'm going to go with the safer bet. But this information helps because this leads me to think that the over may be the better bet in this game than the Saints in 3. Again, I have action on the Saints winning over 10.5 games for the year. So, of course, I want the Saints to win. For those of you who don't know, you can call me Funk as a Lions fan. So he obviously wants the Lions to win. And hey, listen, man, I will be very happy for you. But I think the best play is probably over 54. I think you're going to see a high-scoring, sloppy game here. Alex says, Lions look to be in a better position right now. I would choose the Lions over the Saints, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lost. I think a lot of people are really agreeing with you. The line's been at 3. It stayed at 3. Like I said, I think the better play on this game would be over 54. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game that's sloppy with a lot of penalties and maybe some turnovers. It's going to be a fun game, though. This is going to be a fun game. If you notice here, I really like overs, but it's been a very high-scoring league. Lots of people are liking overs. There's been a lot of high-scoring games. Sooner or later, the defenses are going to catch up. But I really think that since we're in the first quarter of the season, I still think we're going to see a lot of high-scoring games. Cleveland at Dallas. The over-under is 56. Dallas is a 4.5-point favorite at home. And Alex, you know as well as I do, and I think you feel the same way, that neither one of us are big Cowboys fans. But bottom line, as soon as you hear the positives about the and Funk says should be a fun one, he's talking about the Saints and the Lions. But this is also a pretty fun game here, Funk. Excuse me here. Anytime I hear Browns doing good, hype on the Browns. For the first time in a long time, I listened to Jim Rome's show. He for some reason or another, I think it's irony, but I haven't listened to his show in a while. He was calling the Browns America's team, but bottom line, anytime you have any positive hype towards the Browns, it leads me to look the other way. Alex has a fantastic point. Dallas is going to win. The Browns are just worse than the Cowboys. Anyhow, in my opinion, anyway. Alex, I pretty much agree with you, man. I mean, Dallas is going to win this game. I think they'll cover 4.5. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think Cleveland realizes that in order to win, they'll have to score 30. I think they'll take some chances. It wouldn't surprise me if Mayfield has a couple picks in this game. I do expect Dallas to cover in this game, but I again, and this is going to be kind of a running point as you will see in all my picks. This is going to be a theme. I like the over. Next game, Minnesota at Houston. The over under is 53.5. Houston is a 3.5 point favorite at home. I would take Houston and 3, but since there's a hook involved, I am avoiding the hook. I really like this game over 53.5. Minnesota's defense has fallen apart. I think this could be a breakout game for Deshaun Watson, who played pretty well against the Steelers. I think this could be a fun game. They did pretty well against a Titans defense. Minnesota did scoring wise. That's why I'm kind of surprised this hasn't jumped up to 53.5. This is a game I'm really leaning towards, but right now I'm avoiding it. But I do like the over in this game. If I could get Houston in 3, I'm probably going that route. I'm not going to bite on the hook. I don't recommend biting on the hook, but I love over 50 zip. If I can get the word out, over 53.5. Next game I got is Seattle at Miami. The over-under is 54. And I went ahead and looked at the weather report for you guys. It's going to be warm, but not overly humid or overly hot. So this is going to be one of those games. I think you guys can see this okay. This is going to be one of those games that I think has trap game written all over it. It's a noon game that Seattle, you couldn't go further. I mean, you're going from the Pacific Northwest to the very southeast. So bottom line, by the way, if you do lose a game, this is one that you lose, and it's not that big of a deal. So this has trap game written all over it. I do think because Seattle's defense isn't very good, I'd be surprised if Seattle's offense just fell apart. So I love over 54 in this game. But again, I don't have action on this game, but this to me would be the best bet. Got some great points here. Alex, of course, is a Texans fan. I think Houston's going to beat the Vikings with Stills back on the IL. It may be a closer game. Texans offense should break out a running game. I 100% agree with you, Alex. I think that the Minnesota defense is having some problems. Danielle Hunter is still out. When he comes back and that defense gets ironed out, they'll win some games consecutively, but their defense is not going to be ironed out in time. And Houston, I think, really is. Both teams are desperate. I think Houston's just in a better spot. So, yeah, I like Houston. I would put action on Houston. I'm just not taking the hook. You can call me Funk. You never know what Cousins you will get exactly. If Cousins comes out red hot, watch out. Cousins, when he's hot, is really, really good. But you don't know. They've been off center. Another thing about Cousins I've noticed is that he's better when the defense is good, but he's never been really good when it comes to, like, hey, let's get a high scoring shootout. He's always kind of struggled a little bit. I like Cousins better than most people. He's a natural passer, but he's never going to be elite. I always wondered if you'd just be better off with just trying to go with a running game and a young quarterback. But that's kind of a different discussion since we're not having that route. But and I think Minnesota's going to stick with Cousins, but he's never going to be elite. He's always going to be good, but his ceiling's like what, top 10, top 12? That's like the very best he can do. There's some positives though. Music City guy is, do I think distance will be that big of a factor? I think it could be. You got to realize this is a 6-hour flight. This is, you can't get a longer distance than Seattle going to Miami for a noon game. It's a 6-hour flight. Lucky the weather is not that big of a factor. If it was going to be hot and humid, I don't know if you've been down to Florida. Oh, if you live in Tennessee, you've probably been down to Florida. When it's really hot and humid, then I would say, yes, it's going to be a problem. I do think it's a factor. But these guys are used to it. These guys are prepared for it. But dude, a 6-hour flight for a noon game against an AFC opponent, that's why I like the over on this game. And I'm not touching Miami in 5.5. But I do like the over because I do think Miami will be able to put up points in this game. All right, Alex says Seattle is going to win. Fitzmagic happens every other game. I don't see him losing myself, but I ain't right most of the time. Hey, Alex, man, listen, you don't have to be right to talk on this show. I always tell people, hey, listen, join the show so you can talk. And if you have a question, I answer it. Bottom line, I just want to hear from you. I want to hear what you have to say. You think Seattle's going to win? I'm not touching this game. Yeah, I do think Seattle's going to win, but I'm going to be honest with you. I think the smart play's on the over. Definitely the smart play's on the over. If I'm just doing a pick, I'm probably going to Seattle, but it's not that good. All right. And Music City guy, by the way, do I think distance will be a big factor with Seattle? We talked about that. The answer is yes. And yeah, Seattle does have a ton of injuries. That's another thing you got to think about. I mean, are they a better team than Miami? Sure they are. But the big play here is over 54 if you're going to put action on it. If you're like in a pick'em league, I would pick Seattle, but have it kind of low. Music Biz Moriarty. I'll be honest with you, man. I'm not 100% sure who this is. I have my sister and her brother-in-law is Moriarty, but I'll be honest with you, he's never chimed in before, and I don't recognize the picture. So Music Biz, I'm not sure who you are, man, but welcome to the show. Hey, give me the thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to the DAN show, make sure you jump in and go ahead and subscribe. It helps my channel out. The more people we get in, the better the show is. That's just my opinion here. Hey, much love and respect back. But I'll be honest, I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are, but much love and respect. All right, so we got these out of the way. Next game, I got the Chargers at Tampa Bay, a very small number here. It's 42.5 is the over-under. Tampa Bay is the 7-point favorite. I actually do like Tampa Bay to cover in this game. I probably wouldn't take a 7 flat, but I do think the play's over 42.5. I do think, even though I'm not going to do the over with the Chargers again after what they did last week to me, but over 42.5, I think would be the good play. I'm not putting action on it. You guys know that. I do like Tampa Bay to win this game. I actually do like Tampa Bay in 7, to be perfectly blunt with you. But I mean, I'm not going to put action on it. I would be shocked if Tampa Bay lost this game, because I think that what you're going to see is the defense really confuse Justin Herbert. I think that what they'll do is they'll take away the run, force him to beat them. So, EJ2K4. I'm late. Hey, man, better late than never, brother. Who do I have winning the Houston game? We'll back up to it. If you're talking the spread, I would take Houston. I think Houston's going to win the game. If you're talking about betting, I would avoid 3.5. However, if you're looking to bet on the game, Houston -3. If you can get Houston in 3, that I think that would be good. I'm not biting on the hook. I don't recognize you, so I don't know. Your betting background. The 0.5 is known as the hook. I'm not biting on it. If you are into sports betting, I think the better play would be over 53.5. I do like. Hey, listen. Thanks for joining in. If by the way, don't forget, give me the thumbs. I'm doing the thumbs up, even though I have it. You're not looking at me right now, but yeah, give me the thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, it's a great channel. Alex says, I think the Chargers are going to upset somehow. Tampa's great, and honestly talking, they're much better. Just have a hunch about it. Dude, upsets happen every week, Alex. Upsets happen every week. The Chargers do have a good defense. And one thing I do like about the Chargers is that the pass rush against Donovan Smith, I don't think it's a great left tackle. You got rookie on the right side. And Tristan Wirfs, who a lot of people thought would be better suited as a guard, not a tackle. So you got to think about that. But I keep mentioning this. I love Leonard Fournette, and I don't think the Chargers can stop Leonard Fournette. And it's funny because you have Mike Evans, who I have a huge man crush on. Chris Godwin, who's an excellent receiver in his own right. The tight ends are starting to get involved. Brady, obviously one of the greatest quarterbacks ever play, but I think Fournette really changes that team. And I think Fournette's just going to have a good game. So yeah, I get it. I get where you're coming from, and teams that are going to upset. But again, a West Coast team going to the East Coast, playing a veteran team. Arians, I think Arians will get this win, but hey, man, I love this part, man. Alex, the whole point of this channel is never to have me drone on and everybody agree with me. I want to hear from other people. I want to hear what you think. I want to hear what anybody thinks. I don't want everybody to just agree with me. Yeah, I love it. Don't get me wrong. And I love when people, always give me the thumbs up, and I love hearing, oh yeah, Dan, great. You're so smart, blah, blah, blah. Hey man, the whole point of this channel is to get a discussion going and not just have a bunch of people just randomly agree with me, I want to hear from you, man. Brady is great. EJ2K4 in the house, man. Some great comments, brother. He is great, but he needs to put a little more trust in his receivers. Yeah, that's always been a Brady thing. It's kind of funny because I'm hearing more and more about this, but I didn't realize that if you ran the wrong route or you did something he didn't like, he just wouldn't throw you the ball. You could be wide open just out of pure spite. And I didn't really realize that. I knew Peyton Manning had no problem chewing players out. Of course, if you ever watch Philip Rivers, he'll chew you out right on the field. He does not care. But I've heard more and more about this as time goes on, where Brady just freezes guys out. You could be wide open in the end zone, but if you did something wrong last quarter, he wasn't even going to look at you. This will develop. You have to understand the Arians' offense and what he did in New England is too. I'm going to cut myself off because I could rant for about 15 to 20 minutes. But I was kind of worried that the Arians' offense is not really particularly suited for Tom Brady, but adding a big power running back like Fournette does suit what he wants to do. See, Brady at this point in his career is a dink and dunker, but Arians is always like going deep. So anyway, but yeah, yeah, that will develop. That will develop. That will develop. Great point, man. My boy Mike. Oh, hey Mike, in case you joined on late, if you're interested in my bookie, I sent you an email. They actually charged me an extra charge for my deposit. It was almost 10% extra. It was a $9.47 extra charge on top of the 5%. So if you do use my bookie, I sent you a link, and also have a link. I'm pointing, you can't see me, but be very careful. You are going to get some extra charges. I mean, I made a $300 deposit and I got charged a total of $325.33. So I got charged the 5%, which they say. Then I got charged an extra 86 cents and then extra $9.47 charge. They push for Bitcoin. This isn't a Bitcoin channel, so but yeah, just being sorry about my rant. But let me get back here. Vegas must know the Lions are going to cover. Isn't everyone betting the Saints? I haven't seen the line change. As far as I know, the line's been steady at 3. I actually like the Saints in this one. Funk was here earlier. He mentioned the Saints had a ton of injuries. They had a ton of injuries. So I'm really leaning towards the over in this game. I think there's going to be turnovers, and I think there's going to be a ton of penalties. The Saints have been uncharacteristically getting a lot of penalties. I think this will be a heavy penalized game. Normally, when there's a lot of penalties, you have a lot of points. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here. Alex, the Ravens are going to blast off against the Deadskins. They need a big comeback game after the Chiefs game in Washington. No names are the team. I do agree with you. I will never bet against a team with in college. I'm doing this. College, yeah, I'm doing this all day long. NFL, I'm not going to touch it. 14's too big. I do love the over on this game because I think the Ravens could score 45 by themselves. It would not surprise me if this was a 45-10 game. It would not surprise me. If you said, Dan, you have to bet on the game, am I taking Baltimore in 14? The answer is yes. But this is the smart bet right here. I think Baltimore will have no problems running up the score. The one thing I urge you to worry about, though, is that Washington's strength is that defensive line. Okay, so they do have a really good defensive line, but it's just different. It's just different. So yeah, Mike, and that's the whole point of this channel, is so I can help you out. This is an experiment. The $300 I put in my bookie, it's $300 I could afford to lose. But yeah, I did not see that charge. I actually thought it was a charge from my bank. So I called my bank. They're like, no. And I was like, oh, wow. They didn't tell me that either. So yeah, if you want to use my bookie, if you want to help me out, great. If you don't, I'm cool with that too. I'm obviously, going to help you out in every way I can. But yeah, it's I don't recommend the site. EJ2K4, man, great comment, brother. Yep, the Redskins deep, yeah, they are beat up. The defensive line is still the strength of the team. Again, if you said, Dan, you got to bet on this game, I'm taking the Ravens in 14, but I don't ever recommend taking 14 in an NFL game, ever. But well, I'm going to tell you what, I actually think that the Ravens very easily could score 45 in this game. I really think the over is a smart play. So, and keep in mind, the Ravens can score fast. They didn't against Kansas City, but I think they'll run up the score on the Redskins, unfortunately. Next game, Giants at the hey, Funk, man. Hey, man, you are good, man. Hey, I it's funny. I don't bring up my own personal life. I don't think you guys want to hear about it. But hey, man, I understand completely. I'm glad you're here, brother. I'm glad you're here, man. Hey, man, it's good to have a hardworking wife, and I understand being a parent. I don't have kids myself, but hey, man, that's great. Hey, thank you for the love and support, Funk. Man. Man, it's because of you and great fans like you in the Detroit area. It makes me really cheer for the Lions. Just not this week. I come on. I got action on the Saints over 10.5. Giants at the Rams. The over/under is 48. Again, I same thing. Rams are a 13.5 point favorite. I fully expect the Rams to cover in this game, but I would probably go with I actually would go with 48. And the reason why is that I think the Rams will put up a lot of points. The only question I would have is I could easily see this being like a 34-7 game. So, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, man. The Giants' offense I thought would be a lot better. But, yeah, I really think that the Rams – I actually think that the Rams are more likely to cover 13.5 than Baltimore would be to cover 14. But I would be shocked if both Baltimore and the Rams didn't win by 20 plus points. I don't expect either one of these games to be good. Alex, I 100% agree with you. The Giants look terrible. They're made for running offense, no offensive line, and they don't have you're everything you're saying is correct, Alex. Everything you're saying is correct. This is not going to be I don't see how this could be a good game at all. I would actually take the Rams. I don't bet on NFL lines at 14. I like over 48 just because I could see the Rams scoring 30, 40 points. I could see the Rams putting in backups, and I could see the backups scoring. And a lot of times in a blowout, you could see Daniel Jones getting benched and the backup coming in scoring a cheap touchdown. I would avoid this game, but I do like the over. I'm not touching this game. This is a game where it's dropped quite a bit, and I thought it would go up, but it's actually dropped. So I'm a little surprised about this. And I don't think I've ever had a Patriots fan on here. I got some Chiefs fans here, and my respect. Speaking of Chiefs, dude, I'm at a bar in the middle of nowhere playing cards. We were watching your show on my phone. Dudes here love it. Hey, man. Hey, thanks a lot, Tim. I appreciate it. Man, good luck. Is there a chance of I'm going to go on a side note. The first time I met Tim, we went and played some Texas Hold'em. There was 2 games, and Tim won the first one. I won the second one, and I don't play poker anymore, but hopefully Tim is playing and winning. Hey, thanks for giving me some love here. Thanks for hey, tell your friends to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's scientifically proven to make all your wildest dreams come true. And remember, if you watched Wednesday, I called the Thursday night winner. I haven't released my pick yet. I have one game I put action on. Alex says Patriots are going to lose to the Chiefs based off it being a Chiefs home game, going to be a close game. I couldn't have said it better myself. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Bill Belichick has almost 2 days extra to prepare for this game. The Patriots played a home game against the Raiders noon Sunday. The Chiefs played at Baltimore on Monday. That's a huge advantage for New England. I would actually put action on New England if it got to, like, my magic number was 8.5, which I didn't think I would see. I actually thought it would jump to 7.5. It's been steady at 7. I'm not going to touch it. I thought the over would actually go up. It's gone down. Last year, these guys played to a 23-16 game. Here's the thing. Bill Belichick's front 7 and Baltimore's front 7 are different. Bill Belichick has a much better front 7. I think that they'll really cause Kansas City some problems, but Kansas City's been able to put points up against Bill Belichick. I fully expect New England to put up more points against this Chiefs defense than Baltimore did. I think Sony Michel's actually going to have a big game. I think Sony Michel's going to have a big game, and Pete was asking about running backs earlier. If you're in a PPR league, I think Sony Michel's going to have about 6 to 8 catches. A little known thing, and the only reason I'm saying this is because I know Bill Belichick knows this. The Chiefs' weakness on defense is not the defensive line, it's the linebacker. So what I think they're going to do is get running backs out on the linebackers. That's how you win the matchups. I think you're going to see a lot of check downs, a lot of short passes from Cam Newton, which is something you haven't seen. So what makes you think that they're going to do it? Because I haven't seen it. That may sound confusing, But that's what Bill Belichick likes to do. He likes to confuse you. And I think that's the weakness of the Chiefs defense. I know this because I watched a lot of Chiefs football. So, and EJ2K4 I have a feeling it's an upset. Listen, you're not alone. You are not alone. Like I said, if you are into teasers and you could put a 6-point teaser on the Patriots, do it. Do it. So, Michelle is hurt. Michelle's been banged up, but I'm almost 100% sure he's going to play. If he doesn't, that's huge. But I think he is going to play. And Pete, Pete says, yo, I just joined and he mentioned me. It's going to be a great weekend for all of us. Money is ours, baby. Yeah. I want Pete, let me know if your league's a PPR league. I don't know. I don't know if it's PPR league, because if it's a PPR league, James Robinson for Jacksonville and Sony Michel are two guys to watch out for. If it's standard, the guy who's going to have the best luck will be Ezekiel Elliott. That's just my opinion. Philly is going to get crushed by the Niners until the Eagles get some of their injured guys back. Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better, Alex. I couldn't have said it. I'm going to leave that comment up after I go over it real fast here. Okay, let me see if I can put that up. Okay. I'm going to just hide it real fast. Philly, as you can see here, the over-under is 45. San Francisco's a 7-point favorite. I'm not putting action on this game. Philly's got so many injuries. San Francisco's got injuries. I like Mullins. I don't care what they say publicly. Privately, you are going to see I think that they're preparing to go with Mullins, and I think they should go with the young quarterback, spend some money on the defensive line, get more weapons. And damn, EJ2K4 coming out strong, man. Philly's been messy. Dude, it's injuries. It's injuries, and Alex said it perfectly. Until they get some of their guys back on that offensive line, it's so problematic, because what teams can do, all their receivers are hurt, the whole offensive line's hurt. I got a phone call to play left tackle from Doug Peterson. I said I didn't want to. I'm busy. So yeah, until they get the offensive line, until they get some players back, I wouldn't touch it. The 49ers got a ton of injuries, and even though I like Mullins more than I like Garoppolo, Mullins is not even a top 20 quarterback yet, because he's young and I like his ability, and I think he can throw downfield. I think he adds something. When you have a team based on a running scheme, it helps if you have the ability to go downfield and you have some sort of deep threat, and that's something Garoppolo does not bring to the table. So, all right. And I got Monday night, Atlanta at Green Bay. The over-under is 56.5. Green Bay is a 7-point favorite. I like the over in this game, but 56.5 is a huge number. Pete, the injury plague came. Yeah, I agree. I agree. The NFL is always better when players are healthy. I hate the amount of injuries. 49ers backups are way better than the Eagles backups. Alex, you're 100% correct. That's how teams are built better, is with depth. And teams that have a lot of injuries are really struggling this year. And that's kind of unfortunate how the season's going to come down to. It wouldn't surprise me if a team that's 9-7 or 10-6 entering the playoffs, but enters playoffs completely healthy, ends up going to the Super Bowl. So what you're seeing now is going to be completely different, because there are so many injuries. It's going to be a battle of who stays healthiest going into the playoffs. Last year, the Chiefs had all sorts of injury issues in the beginning and the middle of the season. They got healthy towards the end, entered the playoffs completely healthy. San Francisco did not. San Francisco had some injury issues, and of course, San Francisco was not in Kansas City's class as a team, even though Niners fans are convinced that they were just 1 or 2 plays away from losing. That is not even close to being true. I went on my rant there, but yeah. I liked over in this game. Except for that first game where Atlanta only scored 25 points, the Falcons' offense puts up a lot of points. Bottom line, I think that they're going to be able to put up points. Green Bay's offenses looked awesome. So I love the over in this game. I like Green Bay to cover 7. I'm not going to put action on this game, but yeah, absolutely. And Pete, you're 100% correct. The Saints-Lions game, in my opinion, might be the highest scoring game this weekend. The Saints defense is depleted, and the Lions can't depend on AP all game if Breeds. Yeah, you're 100% correct. Not only that, you have a lot of sloppy play from the Saints normally. Sean Payton is a really good coach. So yeah, I 100% agree. I like the over in this game. I think this is going to be a sloppy game. I think it's going to be a fun game. I'm really looking forward to this game because it's a noon game. I'm going to be watching the Chiefs, but I can't wait to watch this one. Green Bay is going to kill it. Rodgers is on his crusade after the draft. I agree with you. I 100% agree with you, Alex. Seven's not unreasonable. I don't disagree with it. We'll go back here. I don't disagree with it. I just like the over in this game. Both teams have been scoring over 30 points a game, so that's kind of the way I see it. The thing is about this is that if Atlanta is up by 20 points or 15 points in the fourth quarter, of course they can blow it. But the thing is with Green Bay is even if they're up by 14 or even 21 going into the fourth quarter, they still have to be aggressive because there is a possibility of Atlanta coming back because they do have an exciting offense. It's kind of a shame because Atlanta is got a Hall of Fame quarterback, a Hall of Fame receiver, and they could legitimately be 2-1. They could legitimately be 2-1. Pete says it sucks to be late. Hey man, better late than never. I'm just glad you're here. I'm just glad you're here because I'm doing my favorite thing in the whole world, and that's talking football. And by the way, Pete, you haven't missed it yet because I've got one game I put action on. Have not revealed it yet, but you can kind of if you're able to look at the screen. My buddy, he had YouTube on his phone. My buddy Tim, he's playing poker at a bar. He better be winning. So, yeah. And then EJ2K4, who's been coming strong, man. Packers offense been looking phenomenal. Pete says Green Bay's defense looks awesome. Remember, they gave up 30 against the Saints. They do have some really good pieces. J.R. Alexander, I really like. Still, I don't think this is a defense that's going to shut Atlanta down to 10. 56.5, yes, it's a big number. But I think that this is still going to be a high-scoring game. Green Bay's defense doesn't have to be a top 10 defense the way Green Bay's offense has been playing. I do like their defense. I don't think they're a top 10 defense, though. Funk says, isn't Green Bay missing Adams and Lazard? Lazard has his best game. And then yes, Lazard's out. I think Adams is also out. I know what you're thinking. Okay, you're missing your top 2 receivers. But Adams had a real big game. Jamal Williams also is playing decent. That rookie may play well. Even though they're missing receivers, they're playing at a high enough level against a bad Falcons defense. Keep in mind, this is a bad Falcons defense. So, yeah, Funk, you have some great points. Again, this isn't a game I'm putting action on. I also feel like he's not putting action on. Well, keep in mind, okay, EJ2K4 says, I feel like Matt Ryan's favorite target now is Calvin Ridley. Julio Jones didn't play last week. But yeah, Calvin Ridley, another Alabama receiver, a guy I really like. Yeah, yeah, he is definitely. And Pete will say the Falcons have a good run defense, bad pass defense. This game is getting weird. I like the over on this game, Pete, but again, I'm not putting action on it. I think it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I would probably take Green Bay in 7, but I like the over. The over would be the play. I only have one action on one game this week. And this is the game which I'm going to tell you right now. I did you guys a disservice. Okay. This is what I got. All right. I got Jacksonville as a 3-point dog at plus 105, which means my $100 wager will win me 205. I think Jacksonville, okay, let's start. This is what I got. This is what the line is as of right now. Jacksonville is going to Cincinnati. The over-under is 49. Jacksonville is now only a 2.5-point dog, not the 3-point dog that I got. And I jumped on this early because I thought it would drop to 2.5 and I wanted the 3. Okay. So here's the thing. No, Pete. I want you to disagree, man. Well, let me rephrase that. I want different opinions. I always want different opinions, but I'm going to go over this game in detail. This is the game I got $100 on. This is the game I recommend. All right. Let me get these comments here. All right. The Falcons have lost 2 games out of 99. Never trust the Falcons. I can't this year. I cannot this year. And Pete has some great points. Bro, you may hate me. No, Pete, nothing but love here, man. I never, ever, ever want people to feel like you have to agree with me. I don't want that feeling at all. I never want people to feel like this is a show where I'm this dictator and you have to agree with what I say. I offer you my opinion. Unlike every other show, though, I'm going to show you what I put my action down on. I'm going to show you what I put my money on, and then you can either take my advice, you can not take my advice, because you guys have been with me when I'm just starting out. By the way, EJ2K4, because this is the first time I've heard from you. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It should be on your bottom right-hand corner if you haven't already. But yeah, I want this channel to blow up, but I never, ever, you guys can always disagree with me. And I have no problem admitting I'm wrong. But this is my bet, and I'm going to show you, and we'll talk about the game. If Fitzpatrick can play good against the Jags, Burrow is about to light them up. I know what I'm telling you. You have a good point, but Miami's offensive line is playing a lot better than Cincinnati's, and Cincinnati's front 7 is not that good. Alex also agrees with you. Bengals are finally going to win their first game. Bengals have small bursts, and I think this will be a Jags loss. Alex, hey man, I agree. Hey, listen, I don't agree with you. I'm so used to agreeing with you. I don't agree with you, obviously. I put 100 on Jacksonville, and I like Jacksonville to win this game, and I'll go over some of the details here in just a second. EJ2K4, Fitz knows how to play against the Jaguars. Ben subscribed and I liked the video already. Hey, thanks, brother. I appreciate it. I appreciate the love. Here's what I like about the game. First thing I like is that Jacksonville played on a Thursday. Okay, that's number one. Jacksonville gets an additional 2 days against a team that is young in Cincinnati. So there's not going. I think Jacksonville had the element of surprise. One thing I have been also, and this is kind of a gamble because he didn't play Thursday, but he's supposed to play. He's not 100% ready to play. DJ Chark was out. DJ Chark adds a element to the offense that when he's in the game, it affects it big time. He's got that 4.3 speed that he can stretch the field. You have Chenault, who's a 225, 230-pound receiver. You have Chris Conley, who supposedly has a 4.35, or he ran a 4.35. at the combine, but he was with Kansas City, never showed that speed the whole time he's been in Jacksonville, never showed that speed. You have a West Coast offense that dinked and dunked against Miami. Miami played everybody really close. When you have DJ Chark, you can't do that. DJ Chark is the first wide receiver in a very long time to go over 1,000 yards. He's supposed to be able to play. Now, keep in mind, if DJ Chark's out, it's going to create some problems. Here's another matchup I like. The Bengals front seven is not good. They're using 2 rookie linebackers. That's going to be a problem for them against Jacksonville. James Robinson, I mentioned him earlier. He's been playing very, very high. He had a lot of receptions against Miami. He's going to have a big game against those rookie linebackers. Cincinnati, a lot of people are really on the Joe Burrow bandwagon. Keep in mind, the offensive line for Cincinnati is not that good. You have 2 good pass rushers in Josh Allen and K'Von Chasen on the outside. I don't know who Philly has, and Philly has some good pieces. Let me tell you something. Josh Allen's going to have some big plays in this game. So I like the fact that you have a couple days extra. Remember, Jacksonville played on Thursday. It's argumentative on who you want to say their best player offensively is, but DJ Chark's one of their top offensive players. He's supposed to be back. He was questionable Thursday. Technically, he's still questionable, and now keep in mind if he's out, that hurts. Okay? But you have DJ Chark, who really adds a big element to this team. And also like the defensive line of Jacksonville against the weak offensive line of Cincinnati. Green getting covered by a rookie. Burrows is about to light them up. I don't think so. I don't think so, Pete. I think the Jags D-line is going to have a big advantage in this game. I really do. The Bengals offensive line has not been playing well. Burrow got sacked, I want to say it was like 8 times. I think that there's a good possibility that Jacksonville gets the Burrows a lot, and I think that it's not a wash. I completely disagree with that. A lot of people are really high on Burrow. I'm not as high on him as a lot of other people. As far as AJ Green, I love AJ Green in college. I've loved AJ Green in the pros. It is not the same player. He's not looked good at all. So I really don't think so. I don't think that Burrow is going to be able to take advantage. You have to understand Fitzpatrick's been in the league a long time, and Miami picked on EJ Henderson on a Thursday. That's a lot different than Burrow being able to pick on EJ Henderson when he's had a couple extra days. They're not going to be able to do the same thing Miami did. A veteran like Fitzpatrick going 15 for 17, that's one thing. A guy like Burrow, who obviously has more physical talent and ability, but I don't see him doing the same thing. Not against this pass rush, not with that offensive line. But again, if that's how you feel, I could completely understand how if you think that's a wash, then I could definitely understand why you would think that Cincinnati's going to win a game. Keep in mind, I got 3 extra points. I didn't want to take 2.5. I wanted the full field goal. So I did get the field goal. I do like the money line. I think Jacksonville wins this game. The money line's plus 115. I got plus 3 at 105. So my $100 wager will hopefully win me 205. But again, I wanted to make sure I got plus 3. Unfortunately, the line is 2.5. If you go with the money line, you can get plus 115. That's my game of the week. I am not going to do a video this week with my pick. I was actually going to make this video Thursday. I didn't have the time. I thought about doing a video after the show, but I'm not going to do that. So this week, you get my pick. I got Jacksonville plus 3 at 105. Let me actually hop on there real fast. I'm going to refresh this. I'm going to my bookie, And right now, Jacksonville plus 2.5 at -110, which is standard. The money line still plus 115. That's my game in a week. That's what I put my action on. And I minimized the screen, so now I can't even see myself. Okay. All right. And I am going to end this here. You get to see the talent again. All right. So, yeah, it is an interesting game. And I think this is a great game because you got two teams that not a lot of people are putting action on, but a lot of people agree with you because the line dropped from 3 to 2.5. So, Pete, I completely disagree with you, man. I disagree with you, but hey, man, that's what this show's all about. Just talking football, man. Like I said, I would rather hang out with a bunch of guys and talk football than to go out with a hot chick on a date any day of the week. So EJ2K4, neither am I. Burrow is great. Yeah, and it's a learning curve. It's a learning curve. Keep in mind, he did play in an NFL-style offense at LSU, but look at the talent he had. He had Carlos Edward-Helaire, Randy Moss's son, who was not even drafted, even though a lot of people thought he'd go in the third round, and about 3 or 4 wide receivers. And Justin Jefferson, he was the number 2 guy. He had 7, I think, for like 175 and 2 touchdowns last week. His number one receiver is not playing. He's going to prepare for the draft. Probably almost definitely going top 10. I've heard maybe top 5. It depends on how he does at the combine. If he blows up the combine, he could go top 5. Alex here, I like Burrows a lot. I believe he had an okay supporting cast, which he doesn't have in the Bengals. Will be great. Either he should get out there. Well, I love Joe Mixon, but they need to fix that offensive line. The offensive line is very young and athletic, and it'll get better and better, but it's not there yet. It's not there yet. So that's kind of what I see. And this is a team that's going to get better. They're just not there yet. I see a Jacksonville defensive line against a weak offensive line for Cincinnati. I just think it's a better game. Pete completely disagrees with me. Pete, I still love you, brother. Burrow's about that. We will see. I got my money down on it. Arizona versus Carolina. That's my sleeper of the week. That game is, did I just miss? I missed that game. I whiffed. Man, I am asleep at the wheel. I whiffed on that game. Yeah, dude, I missed it. Hey man, wow, real fast here. Let's Pete, I'm sorry, man. I whiffed on that game. Okay, hey, listen. Arizona is a 3.5 point favorite. The over-under is 51. Wow, I missed that one. Panthers are 3.5 point dogs. The money line's plus plus 140. I don't see it. I think the Cardinals have a better team. But I don't hate it. I really don't hate it. The over-under's 51. So that the money. I'm sorry I missed that game, man. I'm really sorry. I have no idea how I missed it. You know what? There's a possibility it could have been off, but hey, let's just go on me screwing up. Over and Panthers are easy money. You know what? 51. I kind of like that. They only put up, what was it, 22 last week against the Chargers, who I think have a better defense. I don't think Arizona's defense is all that good. The number 51's not bad. I'm not sold on the Panthers, though. 3.5 is a good number, though, man. 3.5 is a good number. So, James, man, what's my thought on the Lions-Saints game? I talked about this a little bit. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, man. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a fun game. The Saints have been having a lot of penalties. Excuse me. I think it's going to be a sloppy game. When I say sloppy, I think Saints have been penalized a lot. I think they're continuing to be penalized a lot. I think you'll see some turnovers. I think it's going to be a fun game. I'm sorry, man. I like the Saints, but keep in mind, I have action on the Saints winning over 10.5. Dude, hey, man, James, man, I'm just glad you're here. By the way, hey, don't forget, everybody give me a thumbs up on the video. Hey, Pete, if because you disagree with me, you can give me a thumbs down. I still love you, man. Hey, the whole point of this channel is to create community where we all talk football, and we don't always have to agree with each other, but I just want to hear you guys talk. Man, oh, dude. EJ2K4, I wish John Ross would have lived up to the hype. I 100% agree. This is a guy who ran a 4.22, broke the combine record, but unlike being a small guy, he's 6'1", about 190, 195. He looked like, I watched him at Washington. I was like, he's good size, good hands. Little side note, he played on Snoop's junior team. I don't know what it's called, but Snoop Dogg does like youth football, and John Ross was on that team. And yeah, here's the thing: John Ross, I think, will go to another team, and I think the Bengals and Ross are just a bad fit. I'm kind of hoping he'll take a small contract and want to come to Kansas City. So Teddy's efficient enough. Yeah, I think so too. That's why I'm kind of like 51's a good number. This is a game Detroit should win. Now, James, who's a Lions fan, says this is a game Detroit should win, but I still wouldn't bet on the Lions. I get where you're coming from. I just think the Saints have a better team. I like the over on this game. I don't think the Saints defense has been playing bad. I'm still not sold on Detroit's defense. I think both teams will score. I know the Saints will create a lot of penalties. I think this will be a very penalized game. I think this will be a very penalized game. I think it's going to be sloppy. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to this one, but because it's on at noon, I'm going to be watching Chiefs and Patriots. So, but I mean, yeah, this is. I'm not betting on this game, but I like the over. Arizona might be moving. See, Funk, this is why I wanted Simmons to go to Detroit. I wanted Simmons to be in Detroit because you could use him at safety. You could use him all over the field. Okay. I'm gonna go like on a rant of everything Simmons could have done, but that's what he needed to play. Man. Me and you both agree he would have been great in Patricia's defense. He would have been great in Patricia's defense. I'm gonna stop ranting because I'm gonna go on for like another 30 minutes. But yeah, that's the smart play. Simmons is a guy who's like 240, but he doesn't play like he's 240. Simmons plays like a safety, and you got to be creative with how you use them. Playing linebacker in a 3-4, they played him at outside linebacker, and that's not the right spot. He should play inside linebacker in that 3-4 style of defense, where the inside linebacker is a smaller, lighter, faster guy. Roquan Smith, Devin Smith. Even though he got torched against Kansas City, is it Patrick White? Patrick Queen, I'm sorry. He's going to be a good player, but he ran into a buzzsaw at Kansas City. So yeah, it would have worked perfect. James, man, I'm just glad you're here, brother. You nailed it. Kamara's going to see a lot of passes. And then, of course, if you do the Bill Belichick scheme where you double team Patricia or you double team Kamara, it opens up the tight end. It opens up a lot of things. This is going to be a fun game. If I don't have any Saints fans here, but if I did have some Saints fans here, I don't think you're going into Detroit and going when you're not. I did a magical check here. This is a fun game. This is going to be a great game. Yeah. Dude, yeah, that Pete, this is the whole point of the show, man. It's just to talk. I give you my opinion, and what it is that's how I'm different than everybody else, is because I actually put my money where my mouth is. I like Jacksonville. I really like Jacksonville, but if you like the Bengals, you think it's win one for the Bengals. I don't hate you. Now, hopefully, you're not cheering for me to lose money, but I got no problem with people disagreeing with me. When will Dan Quinn? Okay, this is actually a good topic here. Hold on, I'm going to get to everybody's comments here. I went on some rants, so I got. When will Dan? Okay, Golden Rooster is a Falcons fan. He's asking when will Dan Quinn, the head coach of Falcons, be gone? And author blank will not do anything till after the season. He will not make a decision in season. Remember, last year they went 1-7, finished the year strong. That's how the Falcons operate. They're not going to fire him midseason. So he will finish the season regardless of how they play. He won't be go. He won't. He. Wow. I would be shocked. I really, unless something really unusual happens, I 100. Now here's the deal. What the offensive coordinator? I'm drawing a blank on his name. He was Tampa Bay's head coach. I am so embarrassed. Anyway, I'm drawing a blank on his name. He has head coaching experience. He could take over. All right. He could easily take over. And I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on his name. He's the one who got Andy Reid into coaching. I can give you like 50 facts about this guy, but I can't remember his name. But Dan Quinn will probably stay till the end of the year. But I would be shocked. Of course, remember last year I was saying he's going to be fired, and then they turned the season around. 7-9 will get him fired this year, though. James saying, well, Ty Johnson was cut by the Lions. He's a dude. The Lions don't need receivers. Ty Johnson's a receiver. I'm here. I am. I have a TV show, or I have a YouTube channel talking about football, and I believe Ty Johnson's a wide receiver. But yeah, they don't need receivers though. So that's going to be a fun game, man. I believe the Lions are have a tough time managing out. Yeah, they are. But if you do the Bill Belichick deal where you double team Kamara, Drew Brees will open up enough things. This is going to be a fun game. This will be a fun game. This is interesting. Alex asked, do we think we will see Andy Dalton start a game for the Cowboys so they can see if they would be able to replace Dak if they didn't have a preseasons to see his talent, so it would be an experiment? The answer is yes. And I think that what you'll do is that the way things are going right now, the Cowboys could have this division locked up with 7 wins, which I predicted the Eagles to win the division. And if they can get the offensive line ironed out, then watch out. Remember, the Eagles always finish the season strong. But let's say the Cowboys have games, they have the division locked up week 16 or 17. And keep in mind, there's only one team with the bye this year, so it really doesn't matter if you're the 2, 3, or 4 seed. It really doesn't. They'll argue and they'll pretend, but it really won't. And let's be clear, the Cowboys are probably going to be the 4th seed no matter what, and they'll probably have that locked. The way things are going, if everything's locked up, I think it'll come from upstairs to try to negate some of Dak's stats. And because I think what will happen is the way things are going, Dak's on route to get 5,000 yards. And I think what they may do is say, well, it's more important that he's healthy because they don't want him to hit 5,000 yards because that will affect his pay. That'll affect his paycheck. So yes, I do think the way things are going right now, I think Andy Dalton will start the last game of the season. He's on a 1-year deal, so you're not really trying to see what you can get out of Andy Dalton. I think that they'll use that as bargaining leverage with Dak Prescott to try to convince him to take a pay cut. But ultimately, I think Dak will be gone. And I think Andy Dalton, it'll be that whole quarterback situation will be interesting. I'm going to throw something out there. I can see Dak Prescott going to Chicago. I mentioned Rodgers going there too, but it'll be very interesting to see. Yes, if the Cowboys have everything ironed out, will Dalton play in the game? Yes, absolutely. Right now, I see Breeze choosing shorter passes to Kamara. Well, I do too. And the thing is, though, since it's been on film last week, Bill Belichick 101 is take away the number one weapon, which is Alvin Kamara. So that's why you want to take him away. I think that what they'll do in the beginning is try to showcase other things. But when you have a player like Alvin Kamara and your Michael Thomas is out, you got to get Kamara the ball. You could see, this is like the fifth time I forgot a name. The other running back who was in with the Raiders for a while, you could see him coming in. Pete says Simmons doesn't look 240, he looks tall. Yeah, he does. If you watch him at Clemson, he didn't really play like a linebacker. He played like a safety. Okay, I'm sorry. I got behind on comments because I went on a rant. I'm going to answer every single one of them, I promise. Simmons played like a safety. And that's why I thought going to Detroit would have been a perfect fit, because Detroit would have used him all over the field. Holding him as an outside linebacker, which Arizona said that they were going to do, doesn't make a lot of sense. He's about 6'4", he's 235, 240. He ran a 4.39, but if you watch him play, he plays like a safety. You have to understand one thing about weight. Sometimes 240 is like Calvin Johnson was 240. You don't want Calvin Johnson to be a tight end. You don't want Calvin Johnson to be a linebacker. But there's linebackers and safeties there's linebackers and tight ends who were less than 240, and they were great players at that position. Simmons, to me, is a guy that you really, really want to use as a multifaceted chess piece. Pigeonholing him as an outside linebacker in a 3-4 defense was a bad move, and it's smart that the Cardinals realize that. Yeah, Pete, you're right. Yeah, you can see the speed, but I thought it was a bad decision. James says the Saints have 6 starters. I didn't know it was that many, man. But yeah, I still think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a fun game. Pete says Kamara will be on the $1 million winning lineup on DraftKings as the I'm not arguing with you. It's just that it's Bill Belichick 101. Whatever is the number one weapon, you take that away. And think about it. If you're playing the Saints, who's the weapon you're wanting to stop? Are you wanting to stop Breeze, who doesn't look like himself, or are you going to put 2 people on Kamara? You think he's? I think he's 230. Yeah, we're talking about Isaiah Simmons. I think he was like 6'4", 240. Sorry, the betting line. Saints went down to 3.5. Really. You know what? I actually have my bookie. My bookie's now 3. When I started the show. Okay, no, it's 3. It's 3.5. Okay, I got my bookie. My bookie's at 3, James. But I thought it was pretty consistent at 3 actually. But if it went from 3.5, it would go up, which means people are putting money on the Saints, not the Lions. And so far, everything I've heard here has been pro Lions. I like the over on the game. I think over is really the best bet. Pete has on FanDuel and DraftKings. I got a feeling Kamara, Mike Evans, and Hunter Renfrow will be on $1 million. Ooh, Hunter Renfrow is a good one. Hunter Renfrow is a good one. I like Hunter Renfrow. Always liked him. That'd be interesting. That is interesting. You got to get a player out of nowhere. Again, James Robinson. Just saying. I know you hate my Jacksonville pick. I think James Robinson's going to have a great show. Great game. James says this is a cool show. More people need to watch your chat. Hey, James, I agree. I agree, but I'm going to try to stay on topic here. I firmly believe that you need to do what you love in life. All right, I got 9 to 5. I don't want to do that forever. I want to talk football. And so I created the YouTube channel, and I've been so lucky, man. I have got some great people making some great comments on here. So I've been really lucky in getting some great comments and doing the thing that I love. I'd love to build this up and make it bigger, and I'd love to have YouTube cut me a check. But even if I don't, I'm still going to do it. I put action on football. I've been able to consistently make money betting on football, and that's why I tell people. I say, hey, look, I put my money where my mouth is. I bet on football, and I'm just going to show you what I do. I've been consistently able to make money, but hey, listen, if I lose my bet, if you didn't catch it, I got action on Jacksonville. I got 3 points. So yeah, how about Cincinnati wins by 2 and everybody's But yeah, man. Reggie Ragland had a good game against the Cardinals. I'm going to tell you something. Reggie Ragland was one of my favorite players, and once they elevated him to starter status, the Chiefs really owe a great deal of thanks to Reggie Ragland. Without Reggie Ragland, the Chiefs do not win a Super Bowl. The Chiefs actually don't even get to the Super Bowl without Reggie Ragland. He's not a guy that you want covering backs and receivers and tight ends, but against the run, he's a guy. If Alvin Kamara is against Reggie Ragland, that's a huge mismatch. Trust me, you do not want Reggie Ragland covering Alvin Kamara. Trust me on this. I can speak from experience. Pete, I don't think it's smart to fire any coach this season with the whole way COVID's been hitting. I don't see a team flipping over the season. You actually have a really good point, because it's very unusual what's going on. But I think that there are going to be several coaches that are going to be fired. I still think you're going to have about 6 or 7 coaches are going to be fired. I think both Adam Gase, Vic Fangio, I think both those guys are going to be fired. And I think both those guys are kind of on the way out. Dan Quinn, who came like this close to getting fired last year, basically with the Falcons, it's playoffs or bust. So I would be shocked if he's still around. There's a few other teams that are questionable. I'll be perfectly honest. Even though I like him, another brain freeze. The coach for the Chargers, if they end up having a 4-win season despite the quarterbacks and everything that went on with the Chargers, I could see him actually going out as well. So that's another thing. But ultimately, and Bill O'Brien, he's got to get things turned around. But right now, I do think several coaches are going to be fired. I can tell you right now, Dan Quinn, Adam Gase, and Vic Fangio are probably all going to be fired. I get what you're saying, because it's such an unusual time and such unusual circumstances. So teams may be a little more lenient, but and I get what you're coming from, but ultimately, some coaches are going to be fired. Listen, never feel bad for an NFL head coach getting fired. Never. These guys will make millions of dollars as coordinators talking on TV, and they'll get another chance. The guys that you feel bad for are the guys that you don't know. The position coaches, not the coordinators. The coordinators a lot of times are $1 million employees also, but the guys are like, your running back coach, your assistant running back coach, your wide receiver coach who's trying to get up to be a coordinator, then eventual head coach. When they lose their job and they got to relocate their family and they don't make millions of dollars, those are the guys I feel bad for. I never feel bad for an NFL head coach. I don't know why people hate Bill O'Brien. I think he made us. Wow, I got you and Alex. I got a couple Houston fans, which is awesome. Bill O'Brien is the most hated man in the city of Houston. They despise him, man. They really hate him. But I think he made us better. Man, I kind of don't want to get on a rant here. But here's the deal. They made the trade because they knew they were going to have to give him a lot of money. And if you saw the $60 million that they gave Hopkins, there's no chance that they would have been able to give him the $60 million. It's one of those deals where I think that if all things were considered equal, Hopkins would have stayed on Houston. I think that would have been Bill O'Brien's preference as well. But when you have a receiver who's definitely going to hold out and you can't afford them, it makes sense to get something in return. So I get why he did it. But as far as making you better, I don't see that. Now, keep in mind, they should be better 0-3, but you played. There's probably about 20 teams in the NFL that if you played Baltimore, Kansas City, and Pittsburgh, you would go 0-3. So it'll be interesting to see going on here further. But to say that you're better without Hopkins, I'm not 100% sure I'm on board with you, but I get what you're saying. You had to do it, but you had to do it because of finances, not because it made you a better team. That's my opinion. My boy Tim here, Cam Newton, Fig Newton, Sir Isaac Newton, it doesn't matter. Chiefs by 20 on Sunday. Side note, just took a big pot with King 5. King 5, Jesus. Hey, man, Tim, keep on winning pots at King 5, man. Ty's a running back. Well, I mean, okay, well, then that explains why he got cut. I mean, that running back room is Phil, and I love the fact that they're going with Adrian Peterson. You got to get Swift more involved. Yeah, I look like an idiot because I wanted Swift over CEH. Yeah, I know. But keep in mind, when the Chiefs made this draft pick, Damian Williams, who had over 100 yards in the Super Bowl, he's a bigger running back. He was still on the roster. So I was thinking bigger running back, get a speedy running back with all the other speed that you have here in Kansas City. That would be better. But once Williams left, for COVID, then CEH made a lot more sense. So, yeah. But with the running back room in Detroit, I like the fact that they're using Adrian Peterson. They need to get Swift more involved, though. I loved him coming. He was my running back number one. I'm gonna stand on the hill there for that. Reggie had an okay game. He's an upgrade. The one thing you got to understand about Ragland, you've heard the term sideline to sideline. Well, he's barely a hashtag to hashtag guy. He's a run stuffer. That's it. He's a pure 1-2 down linebacker. You want him stuffing the run. You don't want him covering backs. You don't want him covering receivers. You don't want him covering tight ends. You don't want him in space. What the Chiefs did actually is put him on the outside and had him play outside linebacker in a 4-3 defense, but they had him up near the line of scrimmage. I should get on a whiteboard and demonstrate. But basically, they kind of used him as a pseudo fifth lineman, and it worked out great. The more creative you can get with him, but he has limitations. The one thing I loved is even after he got benched, he was still a team captain. Great guy in the locker room, great guy in the film room. You will never have any problems with him off the field. Not a guy you can use in space. But as a run stuffer, he's excellent. All right, Pete, jumping on here. I've said it here on the show. Bill O'Brien's a good coach and GM. He's good. He's hated in Houston, man. They got to win this game. If they go 0-4, and keep in mind, I got money on Houston over 7.5 wins. So I feel confident that they still get 8-8. They need to win this week. Thoughts on Metcalf? The guy is a stud. The Golden Rooster says, thoughts on Metcalf? The guy is a stud. The guy averaged a ton of yards, but went in the second round. Looking back, that's a major steal. Okay. If you remember the drafts after he ran a 4.33, everybody had him going top 10. I'm not sure why he slipped, but as a Chiefs fan who had the 63rd pick in the draft, we drafted Juan Thornhill, a guy who is now being used at safety. He played corner and safety. The Chiefs are doing a thing on defense where they have a lot of players that can play safety and corner. So that's why they wanted Thornhill, who was a 3-year starter. They're using him at safety, but he did play corner, and they like that versatility. They could have took DK Metcalf instead. Can you imagine the Chiefs offense with DK Metcalf? Now, keep in mind, we got Miracle Hardman, who's playing really well, but can you imagine the Chiefs with DK Metcalf? I love DK Metcalf, and I think and it's funny. A lot of Seahawks fans are like, he went to a perfect team. No, the perfect team would have been Kansas City. Pete Carroll's a defensive-minded guy, despite the offensive explosion. Can you imagine DK Metcalf on the Chiefs? From now till the end of time, I'm going to tell you, Kansas City should have took DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf on the Chiefs would be so much fun. I love the guy. If he stays healthy, he's going to be a star. He's just going to get better and better and better. And yes, he could have been cheap. Major steal in the second round. 100% agree with you. And I'm sorry here. I'm trying to get all my comments in order. I'm going to answer all of them, man. I'm going to answer all of them. Alex, Bill O'Brien is frustrating, not because he's a bad coach, because he can only take us so far. That I can agree with. Keep in mind, and I said this before, this is such an injury-riddled season that it's really who's going to be healthy. If the offensive line gets better, if J.J. Watt is healthy, if the Texans are healthy and they're able to sneak into the playoffs, they're a dangerous team. They're a dangerous team because you have to realize the difference between now and late in the season. If whoever's healthiest is going to end up winning, and you could have a 9-10 win team win the Super Bowl this year. Keep in mind, Kansas City was 6-4 with Mahomes having a dislocated kneecap. They had no chance making the Super Bowl. Mahomes is healthy. Chris Jones gets healthy. Frank Clark gets healthy. All of a sudden, the defense comes together. They promote Reggie Ragland to a starter. They use him in an unusual manner. Defense gets really good. Mahomes becomes Mahomes. Team's healthy, goes into the playoffs healthy. Watch a playoff game. If you're a Texans fan, you don't want to do this. But if you watch the playoff game between the Chiefs and the Texans, J.J. Watt's a complete liability. He's like, I'm going to guess 60%. That game's completely different if J.J. Watt's 100%. So that has a lot to do with it. I get your frustration. The offensive line's got to improve. David Johnson's got to play better. Defense has got to come together. Look, there's a lot of football to be played. Remember, 2 years ago, you went 0-3, won 9 straight. Trust me, if you're 9-3, you're going to be very happy. The senior injury really messed up his draft grades. Oh, okay. Actually, here's the thing. He was a redshirt sophomore, and he left early because he was just destroying people. And it was a neck injury, so it wasn't like something else. It was going to be a chronic issue. It wasn't the injury. A lot of people felt like he could only run 2 or 3 routes. He also had inconsistent hands at times. But he just fell, and I still don't think he should have gone out of the first round. The Chiefs, I wish would have got him instead of Thornhill. Thornhill's looked better. Thornhill's not been a bad player. I'm not saying Thornhill's trash. And he's helped, and he's played well. But can you imagine DK Metcalf on the Chiefs? I will always be like, yeah. I thought defense as a whole played better. Yeah. And James, if you missed it, James is a Lions fan. He's talking about the Lions. Of course they played better because they stopped playing man. And that was the thing I hated about Matt Patricia. He has a complicated man system, and he doesn't want to deviate from it, even though he doesn't have the personnel. So against the Cardinals, they played more of his own, and it worked out perfect because you won. Yeah, if you play the defense, which is, if you go ahead and you have personnel that's suited for his own defense, you play zone. So yeah. And then Pete's saying not even outside, they played him heavy in the middle. Are you talking about Reggie Ragland? I apologize. I got a lot of comments. So I think you're talking about Ragland, but yeah. So he's an inside linebacker. The Chiefs played him as an outside linebacker, and it worked perfect for the last several games. Pete also says, I told you the Saints are cooked. We will see. I don't have action on that game, but I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I expect the Saints to win that game, though. Here we go. So it'd be the Lions. James says so. It would be so Lions to be killing the Saints. Take Breeze out. Be up ice. I'm sorry laughing. Take Breeze out. Be up by 17 points in the third. Taysom Hill comes in and the Lions lose in overtime. I would suck. EJ Fork, Quigley and Dreams. This easy. He's talking about my channel growing up, not this pick. Pete also says James Robinson is a good pick. I gotta agree. Gotta go. I'll try to be back real quick. Good luck, blessings. Hey man, Pete's been gold here, man. Talking about Isaiah Simmons, he's out first. The Panthers take the I actually didn't know Simmons was out, so he likes the over. It's 51. I don't know if Carolina can score that much. I do like that though. I do like that one, Pete. Saints injury report says Thomas, Cook, Lattimore, Jenkins, Pete, Davenport, Hanson are out. Ooh. I still wouldn't take the Lions in 3, but I still like the over. I still like the over in that one. EJ2K4, I blame Tim Kelly, terrible offensive coordinator. We have fast receivers. He's not willing to take that to an advantage. We also have backs that can catch. He's also okay. He's the new offensive coordinator. Tim Kelly's talking about the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. Now keep in mind, Bill O'Brien's a long-time offensive guy, so Bill O'Brien has a lot of input into that offense, and I 100% agree with you. Here's the deal. You basically are running kind of a college. Okay, he's basically got 4 smaller receivers. There's, for lack of a better word, they're wanting basically to use like the old run and shoot offense. All right, 4 wide receivers, no tight end, a running back who can catch in the backfield, throw the ball about 50 times a game with a mobile quarterback. So it's like old school. Remember Houston Oilers? EJ2K4, since you're new, I have no idea how old you are. If you're a younger guy, you probably don't remember the Houston Oilers and Warren Moon and Givens and Jeffries and Duncan, but that's kind of what I see, and you should be running that type of offense. Bill O'Brien may be more to blame, but the issue is not the skill position players, it's your offensive line. All right, the offensive line has to get better, because what you did 2 years ago is you drafted the kid out of was it West Alabama, and I'm drawing a blank on his name, but you drafted the kid out of West Alabama, and you wanted him to play a right tackle. You inserted him into the starting lineup. He just isn't ready for it. And then you drafted the guy out of Northern Illinois, and I forget their names off the top of my head, but you drafted these small school players to play in an offense, and they haven't adjusted yet. The problem isn't your receivers and the play call, and the problem is your offensive line. If you can get your offensive line ironed out, then the other things will kind of fall into place. Keep in mind, you've played against 3 really good teams. I'm not joking. There's probably about 20 teams in the NFL that would go 0-3 against the Chiefs, Ravens, and Steelers. All right? So you're not in bad shape. You lose this week, I would really be concerned. But remember, 2 years ago, you went 0-3 and you won 9 straight. Trust me, if you're 8-4 or even 7-5, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. So the problem's up front. And if you follow me for a long period of time, I always say, if you want to look at a good team, you'll have a good offensive line. If you have a bad offensive line, you'll have a bad team. And that's just how it is. And Alex jumps on here. I think Tim Kelly needs to be stopped. He ran the whole second half against the Steelers. I will say this. I remember when I saw, I said Reggie Cobb, it was Randall Cobb. I remember when Cobb had that touchdown, I'm like, hey, look, because being a Chiefs fan, I'm, of course, cheering for Houston beating the Steelers. Plus, I have 250 on Houston going over 7.5. So I want them to beat Pittsburgh. So when I saw that they were throwing the ball, I was really happy. Now, I didn't have a chance to watch the full game, but I remember watching the red zone. I'm like, why are they running the ball a little more? So, bottom line, the problem with, and by the way, I don't think there's really a problem with the Texans. There's a problem if they lose next week. But remember, just 2 years ago, they started 0-3 and you went 9-3. So, you're okay. Trust me, you're okay. You lose next week, then that hot seat becomes boiling. But at 1-3, with no games in the division yet, you're okay. You're okay. Funk puts in Metcalf slid because he had bad agility drills. That is part of it. Gary Lawrence, I apologize, Gary. Hey man, if you're new, welcome. I'm so glad to see you, man. By the way, I've been kind of ranting and raving here. Don't forget, if you haven't already, give me a thumbs up. And Gary, because I don't recognize you. If you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. I give out some great advice. Yet you are right, because Metcalf does have some injury concerns, and that is why he dropped. The neck injury was an issue, but it wasn't like a chronic thing. It wasn't like he had a bad knee, something that was going to happen over and over again. Most people thought it was kind of like a fluke thing. Another thing is that because he's like 235 with like 2% body fat, some people thought that might actually be a problem. He might have a lot of injury concerns. So far it hasn't really worked that way. I think he's going to be a superstar. You got to use him the right way. I still think he would have been better in Kansas City than Seattle, and I think he's a star in Seattle. Tim Kelly is just a mouthpiece for Bill, Alex says, and I kind of agree with that. I think Tim Kelly has some input, but I think Bill O'Brien's an offensive guy. Bill O'Brien is an offensive guy, so it's Bill O'Brien's offense, not Tim Kelly's. I think Tim Kelly has some input, but this is his first year's offensive coordinator, isn't it? First or second? He's a young guy. The offense is Bill O'Brien's, and again, you want to have. You got to get that offensive line fixed. Everything starts off up front. I can't emphasize this enough. James says, I took your advice and added Mullen to my fantasy team. I like Mullen. As far as fantasy is concerned, I don't know how great of a quarterback he's going to be, but I think there's definitely going to be a quarterback controversy. If you're San Francisco, okay, if you're San Francisco and you have a run-heavy offense, you want a quarterback who can stretch the field. You want a quarterback who with Garoppolo, you could put 7, even 8 in the box consistently, and you're good. You are good. With Mullins, you have to worry because he can take shots downfield. He's got a bigger arm. He's more of a gunslinger. I like him better. Now, for example, New England, which were the team they played for, I would take Garoppolo easily because they're going to build the offense more around Garoppolo. But for what the 49ers are doing, I like Mullen. And plus, Mullen is going to be, oh God, I have no idea what Mullen makes, but Garoppolo makes, I think it's like $35 million a year. I would dump that salary because you need to add players to that team. That's something 49ers fans did not want to hear from me. But I tried telling them, it's like, look, you're not going to be that good of a team this year. You have holes in that defense. You guys didn't have like the 85 Bears last year. You had a good defensive line. Your linebackers were decent. You have one good corner and decent safety, but you need players. So what's the best way you can get players? I'd get rid of your high-priced quarterback who's not as good as Mullen, but I don't. That's a different topic. But yeah, I hope that works out. Hey James, I'm always going to help your fantasy team, brother. I hope that works out for you. Do I think he's going to have a huge game next week? I hope so. I'll be honest. I already forgot off the top of my head. I've been rambling. I have no idea how he's going to do. I would be shocked if he didn't score some points for you. I mean, I would be shocked. The defense is bad. So, man, you know I'm going to pull for you. This is a great question. Gary, whose O-line is better, Chiefs or Ravens? You think both teams go O-line in the first round of the 2021 draft? These teams should check out 2021 draft prospect Daniel Finette. I'm going to butcher that name. Hey, Gary, listen, I mispronounce names on the regular, so I'm going to butcher that. Offensive tackle Philel as Minnesota's a steal. I don't watch a ton of college, so I can't vouch for that. But I am going to dive in. I'm going to watch. If you're new to my channel, it's the first time you joined. I do a lot of draft talk, but I haven't had a chance to watch a lot of draft. The one thing is, I love that coach, and I can't remember the coach. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he came from Western Michigan. He led Michigan to an undefeated season. Then they won the bowl game. So what happens is when you play in the Mid-American Conference and you have an undefeated season, you take a job at a Power 5 school. And when he took the job at Minnesota, I was curious if he's going to be able to recruit, because he actually recruited a lot of good players. It's really hard to draft NFL caliber players to a MAC school. And he was able to do so. So I was curious, would he be able to recruit in Minnesota? And because he was a coach at Western Michigan, I thought he'd be able to bring some talent to Minnesota. I mean, he's doing a fantastic job. So he is bringing talent there, and that's important. And Minnesota's looking really, really good. I haven't had a chance to watch him. The Ravens are set. All right, the Ravens are set. Orlando Brown Jr., they love him. His dad played there. They love him on the right side. The left tackle, Ronnie Staley, he is going to be due to a big contract. I don't know enough about Daniel Fayel, and I'm butchering that name, and I apologize. A lot of times, as a matter of fact, I had to unfollow one guy who used to be an NFL scout because I asked him about Tampa Bay's right tackle. Oh God, this is like the 10th time during this show. The guy from Iowa, because he's on the right side. A lot of people thought he should have been a guard. So I asked him why, and he goes, "Just watch him play." Well, a lot of tackles in college end up being guards. A large amount of NFL guards are former tackles. Your best offensive lineman is your left tackle, but there's so many left tackles that then end up playing guard. And by the way, there's several centers that are like really good centers end up playing left tackle. It's rare, but kind of going on a rant here, and I apologize, but I don't know enough about them. But as far as the Ravens, no, the Ravens are good on tackle. Now, if he's a guy, because you know what? I'm doing so bad on names. I'm going to get some names right here, so I apologize because I don't remember his name, but he's a 4th round rookie. It's Ty Phillips. Okay, I remembered that before I looked up. But Ty Phillips, he was a tackle at Mississippi State. They moved him inside the guard, and he's a road grader. He's a mauler. So with the Ravens, no. Ravens, no. Chiefs, yes. The Chiefs actually drafted their 3rd round pick. He's sitting out for COVID. I actually think that the plan is for him to take over as a starting left tackle in 2021, because the Chiefs have Eric Fisher, the former number 1 pick in the draft. He's going to be 30 by the time season ends. And then the right tackle, Mitchell Schwartz, who's one of the best right tackles in the year, he's 31. And oh, wow, he's 3. Oh, wow. Okay, I do remember him now. Okay. But Mitchell Schwartz, his play has gone way downhill. But now keep in mind, it's early in the season without normal preseason OTAs. But the Chiefs are going to look at offensive line. The Ravens probably will not. And I'm gonna get back because I do remember this player. I have no idea what type of NFL prospect he is. I'll be honest with you. From what I've heard, teams don't like him because at that size, can he play guard? But I don't think any team really thinks he can play tackle. A lot's going to depend on how he plays this season and can he get his weight down. He will need to get his weight down. I can guarantee you that. And I have no idea what his footwork looks like. I'm going to watch him, though. Thank you for bringing that up because I don't have a lot of time to watch college football, but a guy like that, I do remember him. I haven't had a chance to watch him yet, so I will check that out. EJ2K4 says, from what he hears, Tim Kelly's completely running the offense, and let me get some coffee. My throat's getting a little. I never believe it when I hear that a coordinator is running an offense, especially when you have an offensive-minded head coach. Eric Bieniemy calls some plays, but Andy Reid can always override it. And that's kind of, I think that good teams kind of keep it a secret. Usually the way it works is that both coordinators, offensive and defensive, will call the plays, and then the coach can override it. Sometimes the head coach acts as the coordinator, like with Atlanta. Dan Quinn's the defensive coordinator, and then he lets Dirk Cutter, that's who it is. Dirk Cutter just run the offense. Now, Dirk Cutter's been an experienced coach, a former head coach, so he has the experience. A guy like Tim Kelly, who doesn't have the experience, I'd be hard-pressed to think that Bill O'Brien's going to leave him completely alone. But since Bill O'Brien's also acting GM, more than likely, I kind of don't want to go on too big of a rant, so I'm going to kind of cut this really short. And I may not be able to give you the answer that you want, but more than likely, Tim Kelly builds the game plan, builds the offense, builds the plays that he wants to put in, and Bill O'Brien has override control. And Bill O'Brien can just say yes or no. More than likely, I bet you what's happening is that Bill O'Brien probably has some input, but he's letting Tim Kelly kind of on a leash. And then we'll kind of see. If you notice a dramatic change in the offense, like they start going like 2 tight end set, which I have no idea why the Texans would do that. But if you notice a big change, then I would say Bill O'Brien's having more of an impact. But I would be shocked if he just if Bill O'Brien is not even calling plays or having any input. I would not believe that at all. Jets and Jaguars are fighting for the first pick. Sadly, they won't play each other this year, so we ain't going to have the big tank bowl this year. I do think the Jets will have. I think the Jets will have. Could be. Keep in mind, a lot of things could happen, but as of right now, the Jets look like the worst team in football. And Mike is also correct. The Jets and the Giants, both of them could have the first pick in the draft. I disagree with you, the Jaguars, but I got Jaguars winning this week. I got money on the Jags, so come on, man. It'll be interesting to see who has first pick in the draft. I'm going to do a lot of draft coverage, guys. If you guys are new to my channel, Alex, I know you are. I'm going to do a lot of draft coverage. I'm going to have mock drafts. I'm going to have a lot of videos. I'm going to do a video for every single team. I probably won't have a live stream going for the draft, but I might. I'm toying around with it, but it's really far in advance. I will say this. I'm going to have a ton of draft coverage. So if you guys like draft stuff, please stay tuned and please keep me updated. Like Gary brought up the Minnesota tackle who I've heard about, but I didn't recognize the name. I'm going to do a lot of draft stuff, guys. I'm going to do a lot of draft stuff. And if you haven't heard already, I love Trevor Lawrence. I absolutely love Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to go number one. It'll be very interesting to see where he goes. I actually think that whoever has the number one pick, if they have a quarterback in play, like the Giants do, or if you believe in Sam Darnold, there's a very good chance they trade down. It's not uncommon. As a matter of fact, the Rams traded up to get Jared Goff. So there's definitely a possibility that whoever has the one pick could trade down because a lot of people love Trevor Lawrence. You could get a situation where you could see like a massive trade, like 3 number ones and a couple players. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to, is because I think that there'll be a lot of trades. And I'm going to kind of cut it short because I'm going on a rant. But bottom line, there's going to be a lot of trades, and because I think every team this year more than any other year is going to evaluate the draft differently. Some teams are going to want a ton of draft picks because they trust their staff. Other teams are going to want to get rid of their draft picks. So you could have one team with like 6 or 7 picks in the first round. And by the way, don't forget Jacksonville has 2 picks in the first round and 2 picks in the second round. They get Minnesota a second round pick. And if Minnesota keeps tanking, what if that's in the 30s? All right. Okay, let's just say Jacksonville's terrible. Okay. And Minnesota ends up being bad. You're going to have 2 top 10 picks in the first and second round. And let's say they want to stick with Minshew. What if you trade down? You may be able to get 3 or 4 picks, or you could get extra picks in 2021. Or when if you get players? They have lots of draft. They have lots of capital. You could get a lot of players. You could have a completely revolutionized team. And that's something the Jets tried to do with when they signed Le'Veon Bell and another forgotten name, the linebacker who's sitting out. They signed him to an extraordinarily large contract from the Ravens. And that's something that the Jets, I could see the Jets doing. I could see the Jets trading that first pick, trying to get a bunch of players and trying to be competitive immediately. So, I mean, EJ2K4, I believe the Ravens will take it all the way this year. They could. They easily could. Lamar Jackson has to play better in close games. He has to play better in close games. I saw a weird stat that every time he's in a close game, he's like 0-6. When he gets the lead, he's almost unstoppable. But when you get him to play from behind, both playoff games, he's looked terrible. Both playoff games, he looks terrible. And the Chiefs have a great matchup advantage. I don't think the Ravens can beat Kansas City. But keep in mind, between now and the end of the year, I mean, let me ask you something. Lamar Jackson gets hurt. How good are the Ravens? You know, honestly, they wouldn't change the offense much. They just put in RG3. So, but it's something to think about because injuries are the key. Between now and the end of the year, the winner of the Super Bowl this year is really going to be not the best team. It's whoever's healthiest. There's so many horrible injuries this year. Alex says if Tim Kelly is fully in charge of the offense, and we'll definitely need to do something about that. He didn't plan the game well last week. He's a young guy. But I don't think that, Alex. Now keep in mind, you guys are you guys are down there in Houston. I'm here in Kansas City. You guys know more. I'd be shocked. Longtime offensive coordinator just doesn't have any input. I would be shocked, but you guys tell me. That's the whole point of this channel, so we can go kind of back and forth. So, yeah. Okay, we talked about the Minnesota. Hey, Gary. By the way, Gary, I haven't heard you before, so if you haven't, I think I already asked, but don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It means the absolute world to me. By the way, guys, I haven't asked in a while, but don't forget, give me the thumbs up. Giants are in the running for. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Who would love to see a Giants-Jets game? Giants will get. You know what? The Giants are the first pick in the draft. They will trade it, and I think they'd get a lot of picks. And because the thing is with the Giants, unless you believe in the Oregon tackle, who I've heard mixed reviews about, and there's a lot of talk about the draft, but yeah, the Giants would definitely trade that first pick 100%. I think Alex agree. I don't see the Ravens taking it all the way because he's bad. And yeah, Alex, you nailed it. As soon as he has one good playoff game, but I heard some stat. He's like 0-6 in games where he has to play from behind. Where Mahomes last year was down by 10 points. It's like, okay, no big deal. I'll start throwing the ball more. But I mean, yeah, he has to play better. Did the Giants mess up drafting their QB? Sure, it's looking like. Haven't kept up with the Giants, but what people are saying, forgot his name. Hey, listen, Golden Rooster, I'm bad with names. His name's Daniel Jones. No, it's not him. It's that you have a rookie head coach, a bad offensive line situation, a new scheme, COVID. Um, he's Daniel Jones, the kid out of Duke. The kid out of Duke. So I got you, buddy. Don't worry about it. It's not a problem with the quarterback. It's just like Carson Wentz. There's nothing wrong with Carson Wentz. It's the offensive line situation. They can't keep their receivers healthy. Once the Giants fix the offensive line, that team just looks bad. The Giants just really look bad. But the thing is with the Giants is that they're building for the future, and the future is bright. That defense is very young, very athletic. They need a pass rusher, another playmaker. Remember, first round pick DeAndre Baker was involved in a robbery. How the hell are you a first round NFL pick and you're robbing people? I mean, anyway, I'm going off a rant there, but they got to do better. But the Giants really are a few players away on defense and getting the offensive line fixed. That's why if they have the first pick, then they can fix that offense. They can trade down, fix that offensive line. And the Giants are a team in 2021, 2022. They're going to be bad this year. But the problem is not the quarterback. Gary asked, Gary, some great questions here, brother. I'm going to drink some coffee. My throat's getting a little raspy here, and for some reason or another, I'm sniffling. I don't have COVID, but but I am going to end the show here. I'm just ranting and raving. I'm going on over 2 hours because you guys have had some great comments. I can't thank you guys enough, but yeah, my throat's getting raspy, and for some reason or another, I'm sniffling for some odd reason, but anyway, yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to get these last couple questions. I'm going to end it here. By the way, thank you guys so much. If you haven't yet, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Gary, great question. Make sure you subscribe because and also every Wednesday, every Friday, 7 p.m., we're going to talk football. I want to hear more from you. These are great questions, great input. So I'm glad you joined the show. Who edge right now for MVP, Mahomes or Wilson? Russell Wilson. It's not even close. 13 touchdowns in 3 games. He's carrying the Seahawks. Seahawks have a bad defense. The Chiefs do not have a bad defense. Do the Chiefs have a good defense? No, but which defense is better, Chiefs or Seahawks? It's Chiefs, and it's Chiefs by a landslide. It's not even close. The Seahawks defense is terrible, and for a long time, Seattle had one of the best defenses in football. I looked it up, and from I think it was 2011 to 2014, they were number 1 in scoring defense 4 consecutive years, and then defense just started going down and down and down. Now they're terrible. Chiefs defense is actually pretty decent. Russell Wilson is easily the NFL MVP right now. I'm gonna throw this out. I'm a Chiefs fan, in case you didn't know. I would actually give Josh Allen the MVP over Mahomes today. Now, who's the better quarterback? It's Mahomes. It's hands down. I love Bills Mafia, but don't buy into Bills Mafia that they love Josh Allen. They wouldn't trade him for anybody. They would trade up. They would trade half their team and Josh Allen for Mahomes right now today. But Mahomes is – I'm not a big basketball fan, but Michael Jordan didn't win 15 consecutive MVPs, but he was always the best player. Patrick Mahomes is always the best player, but he's not going to win MVP every single year. This year, right now, Russell Wilson's MVP, bar none. Number 2, you could put today Josh Allen. His play will probably drop a little bit. You could go Aaron Rodgers, but the best player in football is Mahomes. It will always be Mahomes unless he's hurt. Probably a little bias there, but MVP, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's MVP, hands down. I'd be shocked if anybody who's voting for MVP, anybody who's voting for MVP would vote for anybody else except Russell Wilson. The play that he's playing at is immense. 13 passing touchdowns in 3 games, plus he runs around a lot. The defense is garbage. So yeah, Russell Wilson's having a great year. I also have action on Seahawks. So yeah. But who's the better player? It's definitely Mahomes. A little biased, but yeah. He can't do better there than there'll be a regular season juggernaut and nothing more. And Alex is referring to Lamar Jackson, correct? Because Baltimore has a loaded team. And when they play from the lead, they're tough because they can run the ball and they can move the ball consistently. But when they're down and you force them to be a pure passer, that's where he struggles. And another thing is that it's really weird because for such a great team, Baltimore, when they get down, really seem to panic. In that game against Tennessee, they threw the ball 59 times. And why? You're down by they're down by 7 for most of the game. Then they were down by 13 late in the third quarter, but they started throwing the ball early. They just like went into panic mode. I would be shocked. Now, keep in mind, they're probably beat the Redskins by over 20. But, yeah, Alex, he has to play better in the playoffs. He has to play better in the playoffs. And Funk, I like Danny Dimes horrible. Yeah, he is. Hey, there's lots of quarterbacks that have had really bad rookie seasons. Remember Troy Aikman? I remember Troy Aikman. He said like he started off like 0-8 and he got benched. And remember Jimmy Johnson brought in Steve Walsh with a first-round pick because he was his quarterback in Florida. And he ended up, winning some Super Bowls, having a Hall of Fame career. So you can start off bad and end up good. And I do like him. It's a bad situation with the Giants right now. And things will get better, but it also wouldn't surprise me if that team finishes like 2-14 or 4-12 and as a high draft pick. It also wouldn't surprise me if they trade down. The draft's going to be so much fun this year. The draft is going to be so much fun. I'm going to have a ton of draft coverage. You watch right after the Super Bowl. I'm still going to keep. I may not do 2 shows, but I will probably definitely keep one, and I'm going to have a ton of videos on the draft. I'm going to do last year or. All right, let's just say this here. My immediate plans are right after the combine to do 32 videos for all 32 teams in draft order. And then I'll do extra videos on free agency. Like, for example, if a team I have taken a quarterback, signs a quarterback in free agency, I'll do another video to update the draft. But I'm going to do a ton of draft stuff. So if you guys like the draft, this is definitely the place to be. And I'm going to end the show here. My boy Tim giving me a shout out. Hey, Tim, make sure all those guys you are playing poker with subscribe to my channel. I've been just short of 600 subscribers for like a month. So make sure all those guys are hitting that subscribe button. My channel is scientifically proven to make all your wildest dreams come true. Plus, if you watched my show Wednesday, you collected on Thursday night. I nailed it with Denver. A lot of people don't like my Jacksonville pick, but that's okay. I get a 10 from the boys in the poker room. So, man, hey, listen. Hey, guys, have a great weekend. I will see you Wednesday. And if you have any questions, real fast, you can always email me. Keep in mind, I shut off my phone. I shut off my electronics right before game time. So if you have any questions, you need any help, make sure you email me early Sunday. I'll check my email, try to get back to you if you need any help. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Don't forget, Wednesday, 7 p.m., I'll be back, and we're going to talk football. So, man, hey, I'll see you guys Wednesday.